There's only one way to have true job security, and it's not by becoming a doctor or a CEO, and it's not by starting a business. I'll show you. In just the last few years, we've seen doctors get laid off, we've seen CEOs get fired, and we've seen layoffs in industry after industry after industry. And this is where some people like to say, all you need to do is go out and start a business. Now you're in control of your own income, you can make millions of dollars, you have your own job security, and you are in control of your own time. Except it's not that easy. Not only do most new businesses fail statistically, but on top of that, we've been seeing small businesses go bankrupt at a faster and faster rate recently. Now please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. If you are an entrepreneur or you have that entrepreneurial bug, please go out and start a business. I love entrepreneurs. I love the idea of starting a business, but don't go out and start a business because you think you're gonna have all this flexibility and because you think that you can make millions of dollars and that you think that it's gonna give you job security. Start a business because you wanna start a business. Start a business because you see a problem that you want to solve, or start a business because that's the impact that you want to make. If you want to start a business, go ahead and do it, but don't start it for the wrong reasons. If you really want to have job security, then there's one thing that you need to do, and that's stop relying on your job for security. Let me show you what I mean. Let's run through a quick hypothetical. Let's assume that on the next coming Monday, everybody in America lost their job. Again, hypothetical. If everybody in America lost their job or their income on this coming Monday, by Wednesday, 40% of America will run out of money and they won't have money to eat. And by the following Wednesday, 60% of America will be completely drained of all of their cash. At this point, you might say, Jaspreet, what are you talking about? People don't have to run out of money. They can still spend and buy things with their credit card. Now, sure, you're not wrong. But financing your groceries with your Visa is not very smart financial planning. See, the problem is, if you're in a situation like the majority of America where you have no financial protection, then you're so reliant on your next paycheck, or your business income, or your next sale, or your next deal, that you have no financial cushion and you have no financial breathing room, that you have no choice but to be so reliant on your job because you have no financial security for yourself. That's why if you really want job security, you can't keep relying on your job for security, which means you have to do two things. That means number one, you need to build your own financial protection, and number two, you need to keep investing to sharpen your skill set. Now, both of these are very important to understand, but let me start by talking about the importance of this financial protection before I start talking about sharpening your skill set. Having some financial protection, meaning having somewhere between 3 months to a year's worth of cash saved in the bank to protect you against an emergency, and having none of those high interest debts like credit card debts, and really you want to get rid of all those consumer debts. If you don't have those debts to worry about and you have cash in the bank, now you have financial protection. And when you have financial protection, number one, you have breathing room. That means you don't have to be so reliant to your job, and you can look around for the right opportunity for you, and now you can work because you do something that you love instead of needing the next paycheck. Because when you get into this mindset of needing the next paycheck, well, now you're stuck. You can't look out for other opportunities. You can't see if there's other potential jobs out there. You can't look for different careers. You have to do what you're doing because you need the next paycheck to pay your bills, which is why you got to make those sacrifices to start giving yourself the breathing room through this financial protection. But it also gives you company insurance, because guess what? Sometimes companies will run themselves into the ground. They will fail themselves, and now you have to pay the price if you get laid off or your company goes bankrupt. But if you have the financial protection, well, now you have insurance against your company going bust. But it also gives you insurance against you doing something wrong, because if you go skiing and you break your leg and you can't work anymore, or if you get sick and you can't work anymore, well, now you also have your own insurance to protect you against your own mistakes because you have built that financial protection. Now, when I talk about your insurance, I'm talking about you building your own financial protection through your savings and through getting rid of your debts. That way you have your own financial protection to protect you against you doing something wrong. But there are actual insurances out there like life insurance, which you can purchase to protect you against worst case scenario situations like you passing away. Because if you don't have that financial protection, or if you don't have enough assets to take care of your family, and you are the breadwinner of your family, and you were to pass away unexpectedly, well, you want to make sure that your family is taken care of. And this is where something like term life insurance can be very valuable. And this is where now the goal of term life insurance is you're paying money into this term life insurance fund just in case something bad were to happen during that term. But the goal is for you to build your own wealth, for you to build your financial protection, and for you to build your assets. That way, if something bad were to happen, Your family would have your assets. You want your family to rely on your assets to take care of themselves, not for them to rely on your insurance to take care of them. That's how real wealth is built, because you want to be building your own wealth through your own assets. Now, if you are interested in learning more about life insurance and you want to see how you can get a good quote, there's a bunch of different companies out there. But one company that I like is our sponsor, Policygenius. Now, the reason why I like Policygenius is because they are an insurance marketplace, meaning they're not working with just one insurance company, they're working with multiple insurance companies. So now you enter your information online, which just takes a few minutes, and then they're going to present you with different quotes from different insurance carriers. That way you can find the right option that's right for you and not overpay. Plus, if you have questions, they have insurance experts that you can talk to who are not incentivized to sell you one insurance carrier over the other. That way you can get real unbiased advice. So if you want to learn more and see how much term life insurance would cost you, you can check out our sponsor, Policygenius. I have their link down in the description below. Now, of course, Minority Mindset is a paid partner with Policygenius, meaning if you use them, we will get compensated, but there's no additional cost to you. So if you want to learn more, I got the link down in the description below. The second part to having true job security, besides just the financial protection, is having a sharp skill set and investing in sharpening your skill set. And what I mean by that is, if something were to happen to your business or your job, you want to make sure that you can bounce back. And the best way for you to bounce back, besides just being financially protected, is having the right skills to have a position somewhere else. And the best way that I like to kind of present this is, if everything were to get shut down for me tomorrow, if my assets were to get frozen, my bank accounts were frozen, my investments were frozen, my business briefs, media was frozen, and my YouTube account was frozen, what could I do? Well, I could go out and potentially consult people on how to start a YouTube channel. I could potentially consult media companies on how to build a media company. And so I have that skill set of, I could go out and sell these services to other people. That way I could start creating an income again. And this is where the question for you is, what is your skill set? Now, of course, if you have a job, you kind of know what your skill set is, but this is where you want to keep refining and advancing your skill set and understanding what value can you provide that people will be willing to pay for. And this is where it's important for you to keep investing in your own skill set. That might mean taking classes online. That might mean taking a certificate. That might mean reading books. That might mean watching YouTube videos and learning podcasts and listening and learning on how to do specific things. That way you can be better at whatever it is that you do. If you're an accountant, be a better accountant. How can you help certain businesses? If you are a designer, how can you be a better designer? How can you help certain people with certain types of designs? If you're a writer, how can you be a good SEO writer or whatever type of writer you are? That way you can provide more value. How can you sharpen your sword and sharpen your skill set? That way you can continue to refine your skills. That way, if something happened to your job or if something happened to your business, well, you have a skill set that you can fall back on as well. Because the last thing that you want, if you want real job security, is to rely on your job to always keep paying you. If something happened to them, number one, you want to make sure you're financially protected. That way you're not struggling to eat next week. But then number two is, how can you bounce back? And how can you continue to create new incomes through the education, through the knowledge, and through the value that you can provide? And that requires you to continue to invest in you. That way you have the right skill set that can allow you to continue generating an income. You cannot bypass the work, especially if you did not grow up with a silver spoon in your mouth. You cannot control how much money you were given. You can't control who your parents are. You can't control where you grew up. You can't control all the things around you. But the one thing that you can control is the work that you put in. If you didn't grow up with entrepreneur parents, if you don't grow up with a financial education, if you didn't grow up